Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Michaela Peters. So this is a shirt I bought yesterday from the New Yorker, which is the store that I accidentally end up in far too often when I go to the So Christina, probably because it's right next to the bathroom. And yeah, this is a long sleeve shirt, which means that it's not so hot inside, but I'm also trying to pretend that I've been wearing something that TBH is not a nursing bra around the house, because that's definitely not how that works. I'm trying to get myself to leave the house at least once a day, even just to go for a walk, like around the neighborhood, because it's probably good for my mental health. And the weather is nice, which we know in Finland is not the case the whole year round. I'm currently crazy, so the disc on here was full, and we'll see how long this lasts. But anyway, I'm trying to talk in this video about, I guess, sort of like plans for trying to eventually integrate better into Finland and get citizenship, which is like my primary goal in life. Now, the thing that is sort of a curveball with this that I've been being forced to realize is that, like, as much as focusing only on my baby for the time being is not difficult, I know that it's not going to stay that way, which is why I'm thinking more about what things look like when I go back to the US to present the baby to family, or have the baby meet the baby's family. Yes, my family, rather. It's just that, my mom and my aunt were visiting, and it was really nice having somebody else to change diapers, dress her, and I guess feed her, even though that's primarily my job. The baby wants to be near the mother. That's how that works. But I'm just thinking more about like getting help in these very like initial phases before daycare is really an option, and how long I want to utilize that for, because it is hard to do this day in day out, especially without any support. And I do have friends, and friends are providing me with some sort of emotional support because they come over and stuff, but people are very like afraid of babies, which is like, I was not expecting this. I've held a lot of random babies. I don't know, like, a lot of my friends are like afraid of holding the baby. I get it, they're very like delicate and stuff, but I'm just like, you just support the neck and just hold them. That's kind of it. Like, I mean, they cry usually because there's a reason. But anyway, what I'm trying to get at is like, thinking more about my future plans for like what this process of getting citizenship and everything is going to look like. Because, for again, people who don't really like know how this all works, I'm going to try to explain it. So one of the problems right now is that the laws keep changing. Maybe they'll change again. Who really knows? But there's a difference between a residence permit A type and B type. You typically want an A type because it counts as full time. B types count as half time, or at least they used to. Recently, somebody told me they don't count as any time. I have yet to clarify that myself based on my own research. In my mind, I'm just so far away from obtaining citizenship that there's kind of no point in like trying to keep up with these rules that are constantly changing. So some of the things I need to do, aside from learning Finnish properly, which has, been a struggle, to be honest, and it's not like I'm not capable, it's just I'm lazy, if I'm being very honest. I was taking the classes, and for me, I do need structure, and so like I wish I had these in-person classes I could show up to. That's definitely not going to work with having a baby now, because I don't think I can bring my baby to the class, and again, I do not currently have daycare access, so this is going to be a challenge. I did just buy a TV because, from what I understand, cable in Finland is free, so I'll just put on like Finnish TV and then try to just like hear it and understand what's going on from context. I've also been trying to like do small things in Finnish a lot more, like order things or try to have conversations with people until I don't really know what's going on, which tends to happen. A lot of times it's like, how old is the baby? And how old's the baby? 3 weeks now. So kolme viikkoa, because somebody just asked me this. I was like, neljä, but that's not right. That's 4. So, like, why am I forgetting numbers? Regression. I don't know what to say about that. It's bad. Yeah, like, I have taken Finnish classes, but it's now been like literally like more than 2 years, actually. It's been like 2.5 years. So there's that. So yes, learning Finnish is a problem that currently I'm having. again, like having more time in the country. Another thing that I know in terms of your citizenship is that you need to document all dates you've been in and out of Finland. Well, that's going to be really complicated because of how much I was traveling previously. I'm trying to really cut back on traveling to make this more clear cut. So, yeah, I don't realistically see myself doing like a ton of travel that's not like family oriented, or maybe a little bit within Europe, but I'm just not like super, like, that's not a priority for me anymore. I did a lot of that already. I'm kind of like whatever about it at this point. Yeah, so anyway, it's like, I had planned, like, I had so much travel for the last year, and I had planned this all out like years in advance, and now I'm kind of at this, well, 1 year in advance, and that was too much. So I'm at this point where I have no plan. I'm going back to the US in like 7 weeks, I think, and I don't really know what my plan is for coming back yet, and I need to devise one. But like I said, I'm starting to get more nervous about being with the baby day in, day out, and not getting like proper help, and then also being like a single parent. It's hard. So this is kind of what I'm thinking about. Like, for now, it's sustainable because it's temporary, and I have like all these things I need to do while I'm here, including the passport, the residence permit, and I guess that's kind of it. But the issue right now with the residence permit is that I still need the passport, and the issue with the passport is the embassy is still being lazy and getting back to me, and then I still need the hospital birth record. And yes, a lot of people were like, why can't you just get Finnish citizenship? That's just really not how that works. I mean, I did research that because that was actually relevant. I think for the baby, it would be quicker for her to get Finnish citizenship than for me, because I think that for kids, they do it after 4 years, and they already speak Finnish because they were born here, so they don't have that whole, like, what's the word, like, impediment maybe to them, to their ability to get Finnish citizenship. And why is that important for me? Because I want my child to have options, and I really want my child to be bilingual, and these are all things that have, like, been important to me for, like, a long time. Yeah, but anyway, so I guess the whole point of this is I don't really have a plan, and I'm trying to figure out what to do. And it's like, yeah, I know I can, like, use government resources to, like, get the support I need to not constantly be alone with the baby. But at the same time, I think after I had my relatives visit and seeing, like, how special it was for them to be with the baby, especially when the baby's this little, like, that is an opportunity, like, I want to be able to give to my family for at least, some of the time coming up. So I don't know what this is all going to look like with me, being there and when I'm coming back and all of that. So, that's the hard part. And it's like, what's the word? It's very, like, kind of bittersweet, because it's really cool that, like, I'm able to, theoretically construct this life here, but at the same time, it's really hard that I'm, like, the sole parent, and knowing that a lot of the support I'm going to get, like, truly would be in the US. Like, in terms of more, like, emotionally for the child. So, like, this is going to be really hard, because I am thinking about, like, was giving birth in Finland the right decision for me? And, I think at the time it was, but I think the things I didn't foresee were, like, really missing out on the opportunity to, like, share the experience of the baby being this little, like, with my family. It's been nice to, like, enjoy the nature and enjoy Finland and enjoy friends and enjoy a slower pace of life and being at peace and being stress-free and focusing on my time, like, with my child. But like I said, it's kind of hard because, maybe this is something natural. It is, like, as an international person, you do feel a lot of, like, loneliness in Finland. That's kind of starting to happen to me again, I guess, even though it's still summertime and I do see people. But, it changes the way that I normally socialize, which would be, like, I don't know, going to bars and doing karaoke and, like, being a lot more, like, free form in terms of how I can get out and interact with people, rather than being like, I have to get the stroller together, I have to get the diaper bag together, I have to make sure I'm stopping to feed the baby and all this. So it is a lot more, like, let's just say, like, it takes a lot more effort to even just, like, leave the house for small things, which, like, has forced me to get better at enjoying being at home. And then maybe that's also good because it's saving me money. Woo. Yeah, so it's, it's hard to figure out. So I probably should dedicate more time and resources to, again, learning Finnish and understanding what that process is going to look like, and then having more of a, like, game plan for how I'm going to get there. Because, but it's so hard because it is still like my life consists of like, being tied to the US in some way, especially because of relatives. And yeah, it's really tough because, you sacrifice a lot as like an immigrant because you think that you have a better life somewhere else. And then sometimes it's a little bit difficult to like admit, like, is this really better? But the reality is there are always going to be pros and cons to any decision that you make. So, it's just that my experience in Finland I happen to like a lot, so it's something I've been trying to keep extending. And again, there are all these other types of challenges, like the job market is a really big issue right now. And for me personally, I would say that's the biggest one, especially coming from the US where there are more job opportunities, arguably, than in other countries. This is like one of the things that attracts people to the US. And I think also, again, just being like a single parent and not having that like support from a partner is kind of difficult in terms of, viewing staying here for especially this small amount of time with the baby as a viable option versus, coming back when daycare is more of an option, which that's like 6 months. So that's really not like that long. I did talk to somebody who I met on Facebook Marketplace who was Chinese and had some Chinese friends, and the Chinese friends had to like bring their baby back to China for 6 months and out of daycare for those 6 months because we're talking about getting babies into daycare. So, that's always an option, is what I'm trying to say. So, we'll see what things end up looking like. But what I'm saying is just, trying to make a decision, but I don't really have a plan. And this is the first time I'm a man without a plan ever in my life. And normally my dad always said that I was like most chaotic when I didn't have a plan, but honestly, I'm just kind of chilling. So it's fine. But anyway, I'm trying to figure it out, but I'm also like whatever at the same time. Yeah, it's really interesting because I just kind of like don't care about many things right now. And then I'm like, I should be trying to do whatever, but the reality is I pretty much already finished everything I need to do, and now I'm just trying to come up with new things to do, like the YouTube video. Also, my startup, but that's mostly done for the semester because that's a semester-oriented thing. I'll talk about that more later, probably. That could be interesting. I don't know. I'm just trying to be social so I don't go crazy. Yeah. I wanted to go watch the sunset, but I already left the house for today, so that's kind of a lot of work. Maybe I'll do that on Friday. Whatever. Okay, well, anyway, that's everything I have for today because, I don't know, because I couldn't come up with anything else, to be honest with you. So, and I need to eat dinner, even though it's like almost 9 o'clock at night because I'm crazy. All right, well, thanks for paying attention to this. I don't feel like this one was particularly inspirational or whatever, but people can give me their opinions on that, like creating community, having family, like, I mean, your community can be your family. This is true, but maybe I can hear some feedback on that, sort of like, I know there are probably single parent support groups and stuff. Yeah, so I don't know. It's hard because you're really trying to give your kid the best life you can, and you're like, well, what is that? And that's hard to know because what's more important? It's like, helping my kid adapt to life in Finland and raising my kid somewhere that's better than the US, in my opinion, or being loved by family. Ugh. Like, I didn't know I was going to feel like this, and that's how life goes. You don't know how you're going to feel until you're in certain situations, so it's currently how I'm feeling, and I never really thought that this would be a way I would feel, so interesting. Okay, well, that's all I've got for today, and until next time, thank you for watching my channel, and don't forget to like and subscribe. No, but seriously, I mean, subscribe if you're interested in more random stuff I'm going to talk about with Finland, because the nature of me is randomness, I think. I've decided that. All right, until next time, bye.